Sometimes there's not enough time to concoct these what-ifs, so we gotta be fast, like lightning. Hey folks, MasakoX here. It's been a while, but it's time for the next lightning round for the channel. It's been a definite long time since we had a proper what-if lightning round, so very much like the name, let's start it off right now. Oh yeah, before we do, don't forget to subscribe for more of these crazy stories and like the video to let me know you want more of these. We get plenty of these story suggestions during our What If Roundtable live streams, and these are helping prop up this video. And one of the scenarios that we've been asked to do for quite some time has all been circling around Master Roshi wishing for himself to be young, notably before the Tournament of Power. So let's go with that scenario, shall we? What if Roshi wished to be young? Right. Before we start the story, let's assume that seeing the multiverse in peril had an effect on Master Roshi. It caused him to take this whole notion of competing more seriously, not choosing to be as flippant nor as creepy as he was in the original. Instead, he would make a concerted effort and ironically copy King Piccolo by using the Dragon Balls to return to his prime. Why would he do this? Isn't he already kinda strong as an old man? Yes, granted. While he is still a formidable fighter in his later years, touching almost 300, restoring his youth wouldn't exactly hurt his cause now, would it? One bit. And surely it would help him making more alert and maybe enhance any gains he would actually come across. Of course, originally our heroes would have had problems believing that this flirtatious upstart is their old master in the typical slapstick way. But after some quick training sessions with Krillin and Tenshinhan, the truth is revealed to them, and they quickly take on board that not only is their master younger, he's probably younger than them now, at least physically. But his pupils are smart enough to realize that they need to rework Roshi's focus, all down to his renewed youth and impulsiveness, especially since he is not used to being young again and was enjoying the hermit lifestyle for most of his lifetime. It's a bit of a culture shock actually to experience his own youth for a second time when you're not really supposed to as a human. It also becomes clear to our dragon team that they need to make sure that he would keep his temptations in check. It takes a lot of time and effort for Krillin, Tenshinhan, and even Piccolo and Gohan to help Roshi get back on track. But the results are quite incredible, as in a short amount of time, he surpasses all the human warriors with ease. None of them expected him to improve that quickly. Now, one can hope that he won't be distracted by any strong lady warriors during the tournament, right? So, the day of the tournament comes, and Roshi is ready and able. Goku picks up Frieza, 17 arrives, you know the drill, and everyone travels to the world of Void as one in order to take part in the competition and hopefully put this whole charade of Zenas to rest. When it comes to the initial stages of the competition, they also happen in a way that you could expect. Except that Roshi is a proper beast in this tournament, instead of just coasting along casually helping the team when he can. Though he now tries to flirt with some of the other fighters from other universes, with less than stellar results, as the ladies are more focused on saving their universes instead of scoring a date. But wait, Master-ko, how is this better than when he was old? Well, him being young is less obviously creepy, and Roshi does have some sort of charisma and confidence which is inherently appealing. It's just not when you get to know him and realize it's only skin deep though. But he does attract someone's attention. Brienne, Sosu and Sanka are interested in checking the strength of that dashing, handsome young fellow. And as such, Roshi has to fight the kamikaze fireballs in their base forms in order to be sized up by them. At first, he is pretty good at dodging them, but he quickly becomes aware that they are not going 100% on him, and he is very keen to tell them that to not hold back. Roshi knows that he has to be wary with this trio, as when the girls do transform, they are able to overpower him easily. He is then forced to go full on with this defensive strategy. But luckily for Roshi, 17 comes to his aid and eliminates Kakunsa as well as Mikal, who was trying to save her while Goku takes Rosie's attention. That leaves Roshi fighting Ribrianne, who is, well, pretty strong as you remember. But don't count Roshi out just yet. He himself is a pretty experienced fighter. Maybe the gap between the two is massive on paper, but he manages to reflect her heart arrow of love back at her using his sheer experience and young body. The rest of the tournament, of course, quickly realizes that the two are surprisingly enjoying their encounter. But Ribrianne receives some much needed help from Roshi and Kakunsa from the stands and grows to an immense size while taunting 18 and Krillin. Roshi has no other option but to help the android and rings out himself along with the leader of the Fireballs to save his friends. They both land on the stands. But Ribrianne, however, is not upset by this trick and instead has taken an interest in Roshi's abilities and sneaks through the stands to where Universe 7 resides. Now, of course, Beerus is not happy about this, but Whis seems amused by the whole situation enough to allow it to continue. And Ribrianne seems to try and, bond with Roshi. She asks when he learned how to fight like that, and keeps a brave face about not being worried by a possible erasure of her universe. Roshi is troubled by this. He's not quite sure how to handle it. He has a beautiful young lady here clearly interested in him without him really trying, but right now, it feels kind of hollow. He kind of feels like a fraud. He, however, tries to humour her with some, vague fripperies and answers, complimenting her own power and whatnot. When all the Universe 2 fighters are beginning to get erased, Roshi makes her a promise that this is not over, and if Universe 7 does come out as the victor, they would wish everyone back. Ribrianne then gives him a kiss on the cheek and pretends not to care before returning to her team. The rest of the tournament is, as you would imagine, and ends like the original. Goku, Frieza and 17 bring the victory home, and the wish clearly restores everyone back to life. After everything is said and done, Brienne approaches Roshi. I hope you visit us in Universe 2. Roshi gulps slowly. Brienne, I think you're very sweet and all, but I guess you don't want to be around an old coot like me. Old coot? I'm really old. I'm not as youthful looking usually. I just wish youth upon myself to perform better in the tournament. To help my friends more, you see. You really flatter me and all, but Ribrianne doesn't seem to be put off by this revelation. Well, you are a skilled fighter. Also, let me be the judge of whether you're an old coot. So next time when you visit me as the real you then. And as such, they said their goodbyes. But before they part for good, Roshi then asks Whis for a quick favour to turn him old again, which is easily done because angels. I can always bring you back with us to Universe 2. Yeah, I know. Maybe, someday. Roshi grins, touching his cheek. Aw, how wholesome. Now, another scenario we'd like to introduce today will be a shorter one, and came out of one of our more recent roundtables as of this recording, courtesy of one of our regular viewers, Paparazza. In this timeline, Pilaf's gang did not open the rice cooker containing King Piccolo, and instead of using it themselves, it gets safely recovered by Roshi and the others. So let's get this Dragon Ball rolling. In this scenario, there was no King Piccolo saga, which means that the finale of the entire series is that between Goku and Ten Shinhan. But wait, Masako, did Goku still get his training with Kami? Don't worry, he did. It would have just happened in a more roundabout way, instead of the way that we saw in the original story. Haverock and I reckon that he would have gotten to the lookout anyway through his own training and volition, garnering interest from the guys upstairs, though the older Namekian is kind of reluctant to allow Goku to train with them. He needs more convincing from Korin and Mr. Popo, as he doesn't prove himself against his evil half like in the original. We do know that he was looking for a replacement at the time for Guardian of Earth, so we think that with his resilience, he was allowed to take up the training with Kami to see whether he was worthy to prove to be a possible successor. But there is no hero in this tournament since Kami has no reason to come down and look at the tournament, other than maybe observing Goku. But he can do that from the sidelines, or better yet, from atop the lookout since there is no real peril going on. And we actually think Goku would win the tournament. Simple as. That is until Raditz shows up! Without Piccolo Jr. there to push Goku further, Raditz is understandably a pretty dominating force with a power that nobody is suspected to even be possible for mortals to even get. Even Kami seems to be absolutely flabbergasted at this discovery, as the combined powers of the Z Fighters just don't seem to be enough to defeat Raditz. There is no other option for it though. They might need to call upon an unexpected ally, King Piccolo. Kami of course protests this idea and threatens to stop this from even happening, but our heroes do convince him that this might be the only way to beat Raditz, if any. Of course, when he is released, King Piccolo tries to turn on everyone, acting all aggressive-like to all of them, thinking he is stronger than them, but he gets comedically put in place by Goku. They explain the situation to him that there is an alien power more powerful enough than him to destroy the entire planet. King Piccolo can't really rule a destroyed world, so with that logic, he does agree to help them since this evil threat is greater than his. But even with their combined might and power, this might not be enough. Although angered by that request, Piccolo sees their point of view. They convince himself and Kami, almost by force, to fuse again into the Nameless Namekian. The Nameless Namekian is very similar to Piccolo Jr. at the middle point of his journey, but at this point in the story, his power might only just be enough to defeat Raditz. Together with Goku, they manage to take on Raditz, which doesn't end with the newly revealed Saiyan's death. Goku is still alive here. Sadly though, there are 2 more Saiyans coming. Goku and the Nameless Namekian have to train in the Room of Spirit and Time together. Goku now only just discovering this room since he didn't train as fervently with Kami and tried the Room of Spirit and Time when he was younger. After that, together they are able to stop the menaces, though the King Piccolo side of the fusion starts to show more and more with time. Being concerned about this massively, what it could do, the Nameless Namekian entity asks Roshi to seal him in a container using the Mafuba, before ultimately passing his duties of guardianship to Ten Shinhan. He cannot trust his own actions anymore if he were to remain free. He could feel King Piccolo assuming more and more control by the day, and it scared him. If left unchecked, this could spell doom for everyone. After all that hard work, this would all be for nothing. With all of this going on, Frieza never finds out about Earth and continues to roam the stars on his own, having deemed Earth useless and boring from his own data from years ago, carrying on expanding the universe. Now, for our final story of today's batch of Lightning Round Madness, let's assume that for all the selfless things Goku's done, he was allowed to come back to Earth and help future Trunks and Gohan fight against the androids. What if he could help? Baba is able to wangle it out with the cosmos and deems it vital for Earth's and the galaxy's survival for Goku to come back for 24 hours to aid in the efforts despite him dying of natural causes. As you could probably imagine, this would happen around the attack on Pepper Town. Gohan, however, knocks Trunks out to save him from nearly being killed by the androids. Then he attempts to fight them both at the same time. The 2 opponents seem to be too much for him. That is, unless someone manages to stop the energy blast raining down on him. Yeah, but surprise, surprise, somebody is able to do that. That exact thing happens. Who was able to block it? Why, it's none other than Goku, with a halo over his head. But before you ask, no, he's not in Super Saiyan 3. He wasn't powerful enough yet to reach that form, even with the years in heaven behind him. But that doesn't mean that he hasn't come back stronger. He is way stronger. Gohan is understandably shocked to see his father like this, who simply smiles back and joins the fray. When Trunks gets back on the scene, having actually come back too, he sees his master and somebody else tearing the 2 androids apart. Despite being confused by this, he joins in the fight, and together, the 3 Saiyans manage to get a hard-earned victory, defeating the androids. They're gone. Gohan then drags Goku home, where he has a heartfelt reunion with Chi-Chi and the rest of his surviving friends. He then reveals to the group something important, that he only has 1 Earth day here, and he cannot stay. But before he goes, he wants to pass something on to them that he learnt in the other world, and specifically to Gohan and Trunks. This is something that could be very useful. Fusion. He explains to them the Metamoran ritual, although he does note that the size difference between Gohan and Trunks might be a bit of an issue. But with the limited options that they have, they gotta at least try and make it work. With that, Goku makes his peace and returns to the other world. Years pass and everything seems to be pretty chill. But that is until Imperfect Cell shows his ugly face. And whilst he is quite powerful, having absorbed some people, he's got nothing else to do because the androids aren't there, Future Gohanks puts him to rest, finally ending Jiro's legacy in this universe. And right after that, Dr. Briefs finally returns to Earth in his own spaceship with Dende, who becomes a Dragon Clan volunteer as new Guardian of Earth. He gives Earth a new set of Dragon Balls, and while it is too late to bring back everybody from the Dragon team, at least Cell's victims and Earth's infrastructure are able to be restored to their past glory. Everything is all good, until Babidi and Tabura show up, but they do get stopped by Trunks and Gohan, of course. And since no time travel was involved, this timeline doesn't attract the attention of Zamasu, so all is well. And there you have it, a new lightning round. We should do more of these actually, since we actually have some rather interesting stories in the pipeline that are relatively short. We thank you for your attention and we urge you to join our roundtable live streams to pitch your own ideas for the next lightning round. But until then, I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!